Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video, and today, as you can see by the title, we are here for PSGL round 2 here in Hungary. If we missed last race, we finished in P7 at Austria after unfortunately choosing the wrong strategy, but yeah, Barry Burmand won that race with Jarno Otmia in P2 and Philip Preschneider in P3, so yeah, coming into this one then, as you can see on the screen, there's a fully wet race, which is going to make things a little bit more interesting. Hungary isn't a really good track for overtaking anyway, but yeah,
that's a Louis win, that is.
Getting into it then. Since it was a wet race, we could afford to use just all of our tyres. We had a set of mediums that we were never going to use anyway. So we just go out, get a feel for the track, obviously, being in the full lobby now, get a feel for things. And I can tell you straight away that the pace definitely was not there. Even all throughout practice. I didn't do a really low amount of practice, but I also didn't do enough either. As we set at 13.8, there's our first lap in the session. A little bit faster than Barry, but there's no point comparing lap times right now on these slower tyres, because everyone's just going to go out on softs at the end of the session anyway. So yeah, we just get the lap on the board, and now we can go for our soft run and try and get into Q2. So coming towards the end of our first run then on the softs, and of course it's really crucial in these full qualifying to make sure that you can get through on one set of tyres, just so you have more fresh sets available to you at the end of the session. But crucially, something to note is that we picked a balanced tyre strategy because we obviously expecting the race to be dry, and yeah, we were going to start on mediums by qualifying on them in Q2. But obviously now as a wet race, we have one less soft set available to us. So we gotta make sure that we can try and get through on one set of tyres in both Q1 and Q2. So yeah, the first lap then was a 13.0, which I can tell you is quite slow. Definitely want to be doing somewhere 0.8, a 0.7, 12.7. But then again, we cannot afford to use another set of tyres, otherwise we just won't have enough tyres left for Q2 or Q3. So I think we just have to, as I say there, we bottled the run, but we just have to retire and just hope that this is enough to get through. So as you can see then, we finished in 12th, but we were only about a 10th off of being in the drop zone. So maybe a little bit lucky there, but as I said, we didn't want to use another set of tyres. But yeah, now we're through, and we have hopefully we get through on one set into Q3, but we have the two sets there just in case we need to get into Q3 using both sets. So moving on to the end of our first run in Q2 then, we are out on a set of fresh tyres. I did think that we'd be able to, make it through on one set, but I went out quite early. And yeah, as you can see, we crossed the line to do a 12.8, which once again isn't that fast. And as you can see in the top left, Barry Burman is ahead of us with a 0.7, a 12.7, so he's just a little bit ahead. But we soon realised that he was actually on an old set of tyres from Q1. So if you needed any more proof that we weren't on the pace, then that's it. We couldn't beat Barry with a fresh set of tyres. So
let's go.
Yeah. Obviously, the lap was a bit.
Same as Barry.
As we're talking about there. We think that we've done a similar lap to Barry, but he was on old tyres and we weren't. So yeah, definitely not with the top guys in terms of pace. So we'll have to see what we can do on our next run, because we will have to do another run. Because as you can see now, we are in 5th place, and there's still quite a lot of drivers who are still yet to improve. And they have 1 or 2 runs left to go. So yeah, we're going to be safe. We're going to do another lap just to make sure that we can get in Q3. But that does mean that if we do make Q3, then we have to start with an old set of tyres, and then we'll only have one run on a fresh set of tyres right at the end of Q3. So coming towards the end of our second run in Q2 then. Once again, it was a pretty safe lap, but this is just to guarantee that we make it into Q3. And coming across the line, we do a 1 minute 12.5, which puts us into P3 for now. And as you can see there, at the end of the session, we come home in P5. Barry tops the session once again, but now we have one more qualifying session to go, Q3, and let's see what we can do. So coming towards the end of our final run in Q3 then, of course this is on the old set of tyres. As you can see, sliding through the penultimate corner there, the tyres were not performing well, they were overheating. And through the final corner, we are just sliding. As we check, they're on 107 degrees, which is of course not what they want to be, and we do a terrible lap. That is not going to get us anywhere. So yeah, of course, now we have one final run to actually put a good time in, and hopefully it's enough for a front row. So, starting my final run in quali then, and for me this is all or nothing because we are in P7 right now, but I'm sure we'll go down to P10 with the lap we've done. So anyway, coming into turn 1, just after the 100 meter board, brake hard down into 3rd gear, and we actually missed the apex, and that is a dreadful start to the lap. But we're going to push anyway, braking on the curve for turn 2, just after the 50 meter board, as close to this inside curve as possible in 4th gear, get the power down, let the car run out wide, and that was pretty nice. But unfortunately our first sector, is going to be pretty slow because of that first corner. Into the middle sector then, 7th gear, almost flat through there, but not quite. Into this right-hander, 5th gear, close to the inside curve as possible. Let the car run out wide, don't invalidate there. Into the chicane, take as much curb as possible. We take that pretty cleanly, pretty nicely, and we don't invalidate, that's the main thing. Now through the fast left, and then right. Again, taken pretty nice, using both curbs. And yeah, coming towards the end of sector 3, we take that fast right-hander pretty nicely as well. But unfortunately, the first sector of our lap is going to let us down. So, 3rd sector then. The left-hander, again, wide. This has now been a brilliant lap. And then into the final corner. Sliding through there a little bit. Not as bad as the lap before, obviously. But yeah, we're going to come across the line. And do a 1 minute 12.4. And as you can see by my face cam, I am not happy. We're in P2 for now, but as we
pray everyone doesn't improve. Simon improves. Oh dear. He's then P4.
So looking at the final classifications from qualifying then, Barry Burman takes pole with a 1 minute 12.1. His pace is on another level. Simon Vagang starts P2, a further 10th and a half back from Barry, and then VSR of Vasta Racer from PS4, one of the fastest drivers on PS4, has moved over to PC. He takes 3rd place, and of course we are in 4th. Hungary obviously not being a brilliant track to overtake. Not sure what to expect, but it is going to be full wet, so hopefully we can get into the fight for the win. So now the lights are coming on then for round 2 of the PSGL season on PC. And the lights are away, and as you can tell instantly we've got a better start than Vasta Racer. We pull alongside and we're going to be clear of him coming into turn 1. Prationator also gets a good start, but he's going to be blocked by Vasta Racer, so we're going to hold the inside line coming into turn 1, and as you can see we maintain our position. We get along Simon for a short while, but he gets a better exit, and he is going to keep the position. There's no point going around the outside, we're just going to stick in 3rd place. And now we got to stick with the top 2 guys. As I've already said, Barry is rapid. And as you can see, he's already pulled a little bit of a gap to Simon. So now we got to focus on bringing that gap back down.
God, I can barely see the curbs.
Moving on to lap 7 then. And as you can see, we have stayed with Simon. Barry is a little bit further up the road. But it was at this point that Simon started to slow down. I think his tyres may have started to get a little bit too hot from pushing in the rain. But something interesting to note is that it is actually starting to dry up. And soon we'll be moving on to Inters. And if you can see the arrow behind me, that's Prationator coming into the pits. So he's going early onto a set of intermediate tyres. And he might have made the right call. If it significantly dries up from this point on, then he is going to jump us. So, yeah, at this point I was still thinking it's too wet. And I was wondering why he pit.
Pin for Inters? Jack, can you check?
I'll let you know.
Yeah.
As you can see, I was confused because I thought he was still wet. But, yeah, it turns out that it was drier than I thought, and maybe it was time to switch to Inter. So, yeah, Simon's dropped back from Barry. We might have a little bit more pace than him at the moment. But it's so hard to make an overtake. As you can see, we're getting right up to the back of Simon now.
Simon, he's dropping off a bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. I think maybe it was his tyres. Again, a little bit too hot, so he's just trying to save them. But yeah. We need to try and not lose touch with Barry as he's 3 seconds ahead now. So, yeah, we've definitely got some work to do. So, coming on to lap 10 then. We've managed to stick with Simon. Barry's pulled away a little bit more. But remember, Prishne went onto the intermediate tyres, and now, as you can see, he sets the fastest lap. So at this point, we're thinking it might be time for Inters. Or it's definitely time for Inters. And this means now that he's most likely going to jump us if he's going that much faster.
It's definitely Inters. He just set a fast lap.
He's made a perfect call to pit, and yeah, he's going to be ahead of us. But now we're going to come into the pits ourselves, and as you can see, Simon stays out there. So what? As we almost lose the car coming into the pits. But yeah, Simon's going to stay out, and Lucas UK. So interesting strategy from them. We're definitely going to jump them if they pit. So maybe they're planning on staying out, so that they can do one Inter stop. Because most likely we're going to have to pit again, because the rest of the race is going to be Inters, and I'm not sure they can go 25 laps. So yeah, if Simon decides to pit, we're going to have a massive undercut. So maybe they're deciding to stay out longer, just so their Inters can go to the end when they pit. So skipping on to the next lap then, and Simon actually did decide to pit a lap after me. So we're going to get a massive undercut, as you can see, passing the pit lane now, and he's just come out of the pits now. So we're going to have a 3-second gap, maybe even more. But he is going to have that 1 lap fresher tyres. So if we both decide to go to the end, which is going to be close in terms of tyre wear, he's going to have the advantage. So yeah, 2.8 second gap, 3.8 second gap to Barry.
Wait, is that Louis still out?
And yeah, as you can see, Louis has stayed out. So he's going to pit later, and just go 1 set of Inters to the end with no issues at all regarding tyre wear. So now, coming towards the end of lap 23, start of lap 24, Prejnader comes into the pits for a fresh set of Inters, so he's not going to risk going to the end. He's going to play it safe. At this point, I think we have to stay out. We need to do something to try and get this win. So we're just going to try and hunt down Barry, and just stay out till the end of the race, and hopefully our tyres make it to the end. So coming on to lap 33 then, and as you can see, Simon has got the gap down from around 3 seconds to 1.8, so he is starting to catch, and we're also starting to catch Barry. So this is an indication that Barry is starting to slow down and save his rear tyres. We were kind of neutral right now. We weren't really pushing. We weren't really saving too much. We were just driving normally. If you quickly seen there, we flicked through the MFD. Our tyres are on something like 70%. I think it was 74%, 75. So yeah, they should, if we're lucky, they should actually go to maybe 80 something. So I think we might just be fine. We might be able to do this, and we should be able to get to the end comfortably in P.
What? I've got a puncture. Wow. 70%. No way. Is Barry not going to get a puncture?
So there we have it. We get a puncture on lap 34 on something around 74%.
That's hard to control.
Which is, if you don't know, it's quite random. Some people can get punctures on 74% like me, and some people can go to maybe 80, 83%, maybe even more, without getting a puncture. So yeah, quite unfortunate.
That's just unlucky, I reckon.
As we say there, quite unlucky. We could have came home in P2. We had to risk it. There was no point being safe and pitting. Otherwise, we would have just been sitting around 4th, 5th place. And obviously, we didn't want that. So yeah, it is what it is. It happens. And yeah, we just gotta move on. So finishing the race, then we're gonna come home in P10. Barry Burmand wins his 2nd race in 2 races. So he is looking dominant right now. Simon comes home in P2. So that's it then. Barry wins the race, Simon P2, Albert Carton P3, Prejnader P4, Vassaris P5, Dylan 6th, Louis Welsh P7, Calvin 8th, Fabrizio 9th, and we round out the top 10. So a pretty disappointing first 2 races in PSGL, but I'm not too worried. There is no prize in PSGL this season. And we had a brilliant stream. We had around 200 people watching the race. So if you don't watch, I'll leave a link to my Twitch in the description if you want to watch these races live as I do them. But yeah,
200 viewers. Yeah, yeah. I'm just happy that I have these viewers.
as you see there,
Everyone
we're
just
not too
decided
worried
to
about the
watch me.
race. But yeah,
Thank you. I appreciate you all.
we're going to be much quicker for next round. I'll do more practice, so we can try and take the fight to Barry. But yeah, thank you all for watching this video. I'll be back very soon, and yeah, I'll see you
If
then.
I pit, I would have just been stuck in like 6th, 7th, just driving around in a train. So